Boom. Crabby old Mondays. What's going on? Go Getters Podcast.
Crabby old Mondays. Corporate Nightmares 3. We haven't done one of these in a long time.
I don't think we have done a Corporate Nightmare episode, just me and you, since...
Our first Corporate Nightmares episode. It wouldn't have been our first episode ever, right?
I don't know. Actually, let me go check the
Yeah.
database.
Our first Corporate Nightmares episode, I believe, was just you and I. The second one was with UI and Walter. And then,
this is number 3.
Yeah.
So we haven't done an episode, just me and you, since episode number 1.
That's crazy. The last one was it was weird because it was on Zoom and just you and I were here together, but...
Yeah, true.
I
hope you guys... I really hope they liked that podcast because talking to Nick was very big for me.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Because, how much I looked up to Nick and looked up to what he was doing, and I really can appreciate his brand and his business.
Yeah.
And I remember I was following his page for so long, and it's just getting to talk to that guy is it doesn't even seem real. And it's crazy because I only talk to him over a computer. So
yeah.
it's
I don't think many people really understand just how crazy that guy's life is.
Yeah, he's a dog, bro.
Yeah, some of the people he's talking to, and I don't know, man. That guy lives a savage life. And then to be on top of it as much as he is, and then be that caring, he followed you back, was posting us all crazy all over his page. That was really nice of him. So I appreciate that guy. Nick was an absolute savage.
Nick Hutchison.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, brother.
And Nick hooked us up with Rajiv, right?
Yes, so that's a part of what we wanted to talk about. So through talking to Nick and connecting with him, he also connected me with some other people that he works with that we're looking to have on the podcast that I think would be really interesting. So in January, we got this thing sort of figured out, not quite yet, but we're working on it.
Building on it day by day.
Day by day. So we're supposed to travel to California to go link up with this dude named Rajiv Kapoor, who is the CEO of a company called 1105 Media, which I think from what I understand it's a company that helps to connect businesses with other businesses so that they could utilize each other for their products or services or whatever that might be. But it's very interesting because Rajiv has worked directly underneath Michael Dell, who founded Dell.
Like Dell Computers?
Yes.
Yeah, that's insane.
And they pushed him out to different marketplaces. So for a while he was in China, and he was leading teams in China to I don't know. Fuck.
Yeah, you're all good.
to push their product.
Yeah. If
that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you finished his book now, right?
Yeah, Enlightened Leadership.
How was that?
It was cool. And it was interesting. And I talked to him a little bit about it. I kind of had, as cliche as it sounds, I judged the book by its cover. I saw the cover and I was like, we'll see. That might be cool.
Yeah.
But it definitely opened my eyes a little bit. And I learned something from it, definitely. He talks about enlightened leadership, understanding what's happening in the world and leading your life and leading your company or your business or whatever it is that you're doing with that in mind, being mindful of what's happening in the world. So it's really cool.
Yeah, it's odd. I mean, even doing that whole book fair thing today, bro, I was thinking about that the whole time. It's weird as humans, we are taught, and it's said so often not to judge a book by its cover, but yeah, I still do that all the time. But it's funny because it's with books specifically. I really judge books by their cover.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why that phrase came to be.
Yeah, I know, but it's just weird that how ingrained that is in all of our heads, but yet I still do it.
Off topic, I think we're kind of designed to judge things.
Oh, yeah, because we like flashy colors and we like colorful flags and LED lights and stuff like that. We just what do you think that does, chemically within your brain? Is it some kind of serotonin booster, lights and stuff like that?
Well, I think what you're talking about specifically has to do with the grasping of attention.
What do you mean?
Bright lights grasp our attention, or bright colors grasp our attention quicker than other colors. I think that's a reason why school buses are yellow.
Really?
Or maybe it's ambulances. I don't know which color we are able to identify quicker, but they did that purposefully so that we could recognize them quicker than any other vehicle and that we could, be safe based on that form of our biology or whatever. I'm not sure.
It's interesting.
But what I meant by judging things by their cover is kind of ingrained with us. I mean by that, damn, bro.
I know. But notice, it's good because I'm gonna talk to them a little bit about that right now because that's a problem I have often, and it sucks that you guys don't get to see what goes. And I've been battling with this a lot recently. I don't understand why. But out of nowhere, a switch flipped in me that doing podcasts and just I don't know why, like, it gets harder as you go. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But I was thinking about that the other day. And I feel like when we first started, like when we first started, it was so much easier to just get behind a mic and just talk. But I think it's because like you have a little bit of not doing it, like the angst of not really knowing what you're doing. So you kind of just go for it. But then when you're at the point where we're at now, like where you kind of think things should be done a certain way and you're trying to like micromanage so many different things and you're trying to get better and you're trying to be entertaining and you're trying to focus on all these different topics, it's really hard to get honed in on just talking. Like I wonder at like what point, because I think about that all the time. Like I wonder at what point in this podcast journey does it get as simple as just sitting down and talking?
Well, honestly, bro, it's like talking to other people is easier.
You think?
Now that it's just me and you here, I feel like I have more responsibility to conduct myself better.
I think that's like kind of what it is. And that's why I keep using the term like micromanaging, because like when we are just talking with like no headsets, no microphone, no camera, and we also talk about this all the time, that's like what I want to work towards is being able to talk at like how we normally talk, just with each other in car rides, on walks, at the gym. Make that the same as what it feels like to sit behind a table with headsets, microphones, and a camera and talk. Right. But I really wonder like when in the podcasting career that gets easier, or does it never? Like that's like one thing that kind of scares me too. But I don't know. That's what you kind of got to do. You kind of just got to throw yourself in the fire. But one thing I have noticed with every single podcast though, that's very odd, and I wonder if this will ever change, is how like the first half of the podcast always seems like so anxiety filled and like shaky and sweaty and gross. And then by the end of it, like you're laughing, the ice is broke. And by the end of a podcast, they're always great.
Facts. So let's get right into it, bro. Let's do it. So we're doing corporate nightmares.
Yes.
I've been having the corporate nightmares, bro.
Tell them about the corporate nightmares.
I'm not going to get too in depth here on the corporate nightmares, but I've definitely been speculating some opportunities. There's a lot that we're trying to do. To be transparent, we're trying to make this Go Getters podcast official as a business. Yeah. We're going to get an LLC because we have some monetization opportunities, which is pretty damn cool.
So cool.
We're thinking about merch.
Yeah.
You want to talk? That's your
all things is we're going to get into, I mean, as we go along, but definitely like what he's talking about is on the business side of things, there's been a lot, I guess you could say, flooding our minds as of recently. So it's more than, I guess that honestly plays a part into what makes podcasting kind of hard too, because it's really never just sitting down and talking. I think when you get big enough, you kind of get to that point, but because of the umbrella that we have built where podcasting is kind of at the top of it, as we grow and new ideas come into our head and all these things, we're just filling our time and mind space with so many different ideas. And I also think that's where it kind of gets like hard to just operate as a podcast, because it's really not like, just like you and I were talking about before the camera started rolling, this really isn't just I mean, maybe it is right now, but at least in our vision and like our vision board, this is not just a podcast.
True.
So like there's so many different like little,
it's going to be bigger than us.
Yeah. There's so many different areas in which we're trying to improve right now, and so many different things that we want to start, and so many projects that we want to start. It's just nearly impossible to be 100% perfect at one thing, which I don't really think we'll be perfect at like conversating or the art of podcasting anytime soon. But I think it's a lot easier to become perfect at one thing when you dial in on one thing. That's why it's the whole jack of all trades thing. But yeah, I guess to start it off with the merch. Now, we've been working on that for quite some time now. I mean, I guess all the way back to the point where you guys seen the first flags that I had gotten made. We got one in the studio, and then we have one out in, what do we even call it area?
It's in that box.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is in the box right now because we had taken it to the Woodlands, to film our podcast there.
With Ada.
Yeah, with Ada.
Shout out to Ada Azuna.
There you go. But, yeah, I mean, the merch has been in the works really ever since we had made those flags, or at least the idea behind it. Because one thing I've always noticed, especially like with YouTubers, because I've been watching YouTube my whole life, or anybody that starts like some kind of like entertainment venture where either you're doing YouTube or you're streaming or you're podcasting, one of the best ways to generate revenue for your podcast and to grow and to get better equipment and to do all these travel opportunities that were getting presented to us is to start selling merchandise. So like we've been working on that a bunch. And ever since the start, ever since I think even probably prior than the first time I ever even uploaded a video of the flag, people were asking like, when's the podcast merch and stuff coming out? Yeah. So, and other than all that I just said, I think it's just the coolest thing in the world to go about your day-to-day life in clothing that was made by you and for you. That as well. And then getting to see other people around the city wearing your merchandise. That's just so cool to me.
It's going to be awesome, bro.
And
really cool. Shirts, flags, hoodies.
Imagine like you're driving down the street and you see a Go-Getters flag on somebody's house. Like that's so cool to me.
Or a sticker. Go-Getter sticker.
Go-Getter stickers. Like all these things. And that's like one of the main reasons we wanted to bring up the merch today is because we want to keep taking suggestions too. Like we want to know what you guys want. We know that you guys would eat the flags up. We had already had a lot of people tell us that. Shirts, hoodies, that's an obvious one, but it's everything else. It's like the hats, the wristbands, the bracelets. I mean, pants, shorts, like all those different kinds of things. Socks. I'm about to have the Go-Getters Nike slides in the
Go-Getters
future. Like,
mittens and shit.
Yeah, I know wintertime coming up and shit. The Go-Getters flannels for
Scarves.
the fall time, his and hers. Like, we're about to have it all. And
Go-Getters X Tim's collab.
Oh, yeah. And we didn't even start that. We didn't even start that section of the umbrella yet. It's in talks, and we've been talking about it for a very long time. But that brings me back to my point. Like, when you're juggling all these things, it's impossible to just knock one of them off a list at a time. So he and I had started the War Room, which that shit's confidential.
We can't even speak on the War Room, bro.
I shouldn't even have brought that up on the pod, but that's like where it's a day in which we enter our office and then we just get after all these like little different ventures and ideas and stuff that we've been thinking about behind the scenes, because this is what's really, honestly, for me, has been driving the podcast forward for me. Just doing podcasts, I'm sure like that's fun for everybody, but that isn't exactly what we want to do. I would say, like, well, speaking for myself, like only doing a podcast is not necessarily what I'm in it for. Like we were just saying earlier, is it needs to be way bigger than that. So we're hyper managing a bunch of different things, and we're trying to get a bunch of different things and build a bunch of pillars so that this is an empire one day. And I think that starts with merch. Well, it starts with a podcast, but then to build that off, it's merch. Mm-hmm. How about the philanthropy, though? I'll let you take that one away, because that's another thing that like we've been thinking about a whole bunch over here. And I guess the whole thing, well, what sparked that idea for me is I've always loved watching videos where people were just given like really cool things, like everybody knows who Mr. Beast is, giving away Teslas. Steve will do it, giving away Teslas. So I've always wanted to do those kinds of things. But then we did that giveaway for the Isaac pod with the wheel that we did on IG Live, and that lit like a weird fire under my ass. Like seeing the amount of people that were so hype to like, I don't know, just have a chance at winning something from us, because you can apply to any giveaway online. 9 times out of 10, I see a giveaway online, I don't enter it. But it like a bunch of our friends and fans and a lot of Isaac's friends and fans and stuff that all went in to try to win this giveaway, like it strangely lit a fire under my ass. And it kind of showed me that you don't need to be a millionaire or have hundreds of $1,000s in your bank account to do giveaways. You could start with something simple. Pretty much any of us can go drop $50 on school supplies and do a back to school drive, like little things like that. But go ahead. It's my fault for going on a tangent there. I'll let you take the philanthropy. God damn, I can't even say that word. I'm talking about doing it.
Yeah, right. We got to figure out how to say it first. But I think that's like the same thing for me. Once we did that giveaway with Isaac, we saw, what we can really do, how we can really make people feel. And I want to continue to do that, because I like exactly what Mr. Beast does as well. I like a lot of what those guys are able to do, and like the way those people are able to like impact people's lives. Yeah. And if we're creating something here, we have influence. We're creating influence. So how many people can we get on board? How many people can we get to contribute towards helping somebody or doing something that's, bigger than you, bigger than me? So we've been talking about doing those giveaways with a lot of our guests. Like if a lot of our guests offer products or services, we could try to find a way to incorporate that into a giveaway. Or, we can muscle up our own resources and do our own giveaway, which I think would be cool. We talked a little bit about feeding some people for Thanksgiving. Yeah,
which we think would be really cool.
That'd be dope. I'd love to do something like that. Yeah, man. A lot of potential here, bro.
But yeah, I mean, besides that though, and again, thanks to Isaac for, making that happen, because that's one thing that we hadn't mentioned is he basically came out of his pocket doing that. He helped us out and kind of threw us a bone in that regard. But then that also, again, kind of lit a fire under my ass, like going forward, how could we be more beneficial? So I would like to give a shout out to Isaac where I think that's due, because he really blessed up. I think, what did we give away, like $300 in that stream worth of gift cards?
One $200 giveaway. He did, oh man, how did he do it?
I think we did 4 25s. We might have did 4 25s or 5 25s, but for some reason I think it's 4.
Yeah, damn. He gave away a lot of bread.
Yeah.
A lot of merch. That's pretty damn
Isaac
cool.
was
Shout
a
out
little
to-
tipsy on the live that night. Just got a little trigger happy with you guys. But
Shout out Gemini Kicks, man.
seriously, like, because, I mean, in that episode alone, too, like, fuck, I mean, I think the last time I checked was like 2 days ago. It was sitting at like 1,400 views. But that's what I mean. Like, the power in being able to give back something, I mean, it shows. It definitely shows. Because you go from, and granted, I know that to be true for that pod, because it wasn't necessarily like it was doing way better than most of our pods do on average, but it seemed like when we did the giveaway, so many people were on board. Like, so many people were like, came together to like have an opportunity to win something free, and we all love free stuff. So like, it helped us out. I'm sure it helped him out big time, and yeah, just thanks to him again for that. But yeah, I mean, that really lit a fire under my ass. Like, to think, like, what could we do going forward with this stuff?
Yeah, what type of influence do we really have? What can we really create? You know, who can we really impact? What can we really do here on this earth?
Yeah, and there's powers in numbers, too. Like, there's only so much he and I can do, just us two by ourselves. But when you have 1,400 people that viewed an episode like that, like, you're telling me, like, a few of those people wouldn't want to reach out and help? Like, they wouldn't want to do something to better the community? That's where I think it's, like, a really good idea, because what we can do for this community in numbers, I don't think people are really willing, or they're too scared to go out and try by themselves, because it's a scary thing to think about, like all the liability and stuff that comes with doing something like that, and all the money out of pocket you got to come out of, and time too, like to manage that all by yourself, when we all got families, we all got personal lives, we all got things that we need to maintain every day. But there's really power in numbers, and the smallest time and the smallest bit of effort by one person in a big team really does help. So that's where we think going forward, like the whole philanthropy can be done pretty well from us. Because we're trying to, like I said when I started this whole statement, is I want it to be bigger than a podcast. Like, we're doing a podcast, that's our vessel. The vessel is used to help us grow and grow and grow. And then what we can give back with that vessel, I think, in the long run, is what I'm really excited for. Yeah,
that's what's gonna be really cool. We also have other things we're working on too. You know, we have Go Getters Fitness, where we would like to start pushing that stuff as well. But again, you know, there's a lot of time. You know, we have to really like get in that war room and strategize. Like, how are we going to be spending our time? And with the Go Getters Fitness, Kevin's into gaming a whole lot. I've been getting into gaming too. Go Getters Gaming, doing some live streams. Doing stuff like that would be super cool, man. Like, but again, that's why this thing is called Corporate Nightmares, because we really got to figure out like the time and the effort, because that's one thing that we can control is effort. Yeah, and maybe we haven't been given effort 100%.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It's hard. And it's like there's no excuse for it. It's hard to give effort to all these different things that you're trying to give effort to at one time, but kickstarting it and writing it down and at least like thinking it into fruition, I think, is the perfect way to start. And that's one area in which I think we've really been on top of, was just the idea part, but really executing is where I think, especially I've been lacking, because I think it might have been the Isaac podcast as well. I had a lot of people messaging me about, I guess there was a part of that podcast where I said I was going to throw a picture of shoes on the screen or whatever. And that, like, honestly, to be transparent, that completely slipped my mind. I'm sure, and I have sat down after that, and I'm trying to, like, you know, work on these, like, editing things. But when we do so many podcasts in a row like that, we schedule them out ahead of time. So we do a podcast with Isaac. We already have 3 others filmed. We do it in order. So Thursday. It's a lot of time till a podcast comes out. Not really an excuse, but honestly, it just slipped my mind. So what I did right after that was I was looking into, like, different ways in which I can make that happen in the future, and I think I might be onto it. So if that ever happens in the future, I should be able to solve that.
How about I give him a challenge? Put a picture of an elephant right here.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
How about that?
A picture of an elephant.
Put a picture of an elephant right here.
All right. This comes out Thursday, and it's Monday right now, so hopefully I get an elephant there. I got 3 days to figure this one out.
That's the challenge. But I think this is a prime example, though. Like, think about how much potential this podcast has. Yeah. The umbrella of the Go Getters podcast. Oh, yeah. Say we don't just do podcasts. We want to do giveaways. We want to contribute to our community. We want to also get into other branches of things. I mean, it's really never ending, because this is just the shit we're talking about. Yeah. I mean, we have so many things that we have on our heads, but this is a prime example of conquer yourself. Mm-hmm. Because if you can figure out and you can master yourself, then what we're able to contribute is greater. Yeah. You know, the reason that we haven't got to those places, I believe, is because of things we haven't resolved within ourselves.
Yep.
You know, if it's time management, if it's systemizing, if it's scheduling, if it's simply that you're lazy,
Yep.
simply that you can't put the effort forward, you know, and that's both of us, you know, so, and that's a lesson to anybody, like, that's listening. You know, you might have a lot of dreams, you might have a lot of aspirations, but you must first conquer yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, you know, you really won't be able to fully execute what it is that you want to do or what it is that you're truly capable of doing.
Yeah.
You know, and we're prime examples of that. And that's another thing, like, again, we're fucking 20 episodes in now?
This would be 25.
25 episodes in. That's damn near over 30 hours of footage.
Yeah.
And we still got a lot to do. We still got a lot to do. We are fully aware that we can do better on thumbnails.
Oh, yeah.
Fully aware that we could do better with camera quality, all this shit.
Yep.
You know?
But that's kind of just for us to resonate and figure out ways in which we can all make everything work. Because, I mean, again, you guys don't see it, and it's not talked about enough, but it's basically a 2-person team you got here. And granted, we'll get to Matt, because Matt Sachs, top dog Matt Sachs, that kid, I don't think, like, what we do isn't talked about enough, and truthfully, I don't care about that, but seeing what, like, mind you, he's developing a website. Matt is a coder. We had talked about that a lot on the podcast we did with Matt. He's making us a from scratch website. Like, you know what I mean? For the go-getters, as basically a directory for us to link off to all of our episodes, separate ventures, just, you know, giveaways, really anything we got coming forward for you guys. He's developing us a whole website, which, to be, I don't know.
Frank.
To be frank.
And beans.
He could have
Frank and beans.
He could have charged us a lot of money for that if he really wanted to, and he didn't. Out of the kindness of his heart. And I forget, we took Matt out for dinner the other night, and I forget how much time he had mentioned he spent just the night.
8 hours a night, I think.
My thing though is, like, if you asked me to sit down right now and dedicate 8 hours of my time to something that didn't involve me at all, I mean, first off, I'd have to know what it is. But it'd probably be hard for me to just jump on that. And that's just one day. It doesn't take 8 hours to develop a website. Like, that takes days. So I wanted to give a shout out to him on here now too, because I know he'll be listening. Matt's one of our biggest fans too. Like, Matt will watch a video in its entirety, and he'll mention things that were said on the podcast to us that really resonated with him. So I know that he's a real supporter and a real member of the team that, like, the light doesn't get shined in that area of this whole Go-Getters mission very much. But yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to him too.
Yeah, it's a marathon, bro. Pretty soon we will have our team.
Yeah.
Pretty soon we'll have, you know, the dude that handles editing, the dude that handles this, the president of the fucking whatever we drop. We might drop a sports drink pretty soon. Who knows? We might have to get somebody taking out Gatorade and Prime Energy.
They're going to see that Go-Getters fitness supplements and everything on shelves one day. You're going to go to GNC and see the fucking Go-Getters pre on the shelf, and then you're going to get dialed before your latest iron session.
The next lift, right? What else we got going on?
On the topic of the fitness, I think we should mention on here, to maybe at least get people ready for what's to come in the future, is we've been talking, and that's kind of what the dinner with Matt was, or one of the big things we were talking about during that dinner with Matt the other day too, was our fitness challenge that we want to start. And this is, again, just another one of those things we're trying to juggle. So nothing we're mentioning on this podcast is finalized or finished, but in any way, like, this Go-Getters Fitness right now is literally just Go-Getters Fitness Challenge. We know nothing else, and that might not even be the damn title. So really nothing is solidified right now. But it's something that we've been tossing around a lot, because truthfully, I mean, the title of our brand is Go-Getters, and I think we go and get a lot, but there's a lot of areas in which we can do a lot better. Me specifically, I work out, I lift practically every day, but I could do a lot better besides that. Like, I had just told him I'd go on a run with him later. This is gonna be the fucking first run I go on since like 2 years ago doing football. Like, so yeah, it's gonna be demon time tonight.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, but these are the things you got to do, because I had mentioned, and I mentioned on a lot of podcasts, but I mentioned on the Isaac podcast about just how truthfully beneficial I feel the gym is for me. And that was a big part of the podcast that I was getting mentioned a lot to me. And I know it's true for a lot of people, and it's definitely true for a lot more people. They just don't realize it. Like, if only you would go and dedicate even an hour of your life a day, or every other day, or a couple times a week, just to lift in some heavy iron or doing a little bit of cardio or running or sitting in the sauna or
How's that change your life?
what?
Like lifting, like not lifting consistently and just existing to lifting consistently.
I don't know necessarily, because for me it wasn't really measurable. It was kind of just like at a certain point in my life. I think it was very measurable when I first started. Like when you would first start going to the gym after like months, like when we first started dialing back in like our Planet Fitness workouts, like going back there, like right after COVID. Because during like that whole time of like I would say like probably for a year in 2020, I wasn't really working out at all. So right after that, I think is when we really dialed that like the Planet Fitness run in. That's like what started my arc back into like lifting every day. And I think when I was doing it then, it was very measurable because I wasn't used to it. And it's like one of the weirdest like confidence boosters that like one can have. I showed a lot of like progress and I lost a lot of weight and I got a lot stronger very fast. But then like when you start doing something like that every day, it just becomes a part of your life and naturally you'll start to plateau. So you don't like realize those things as much as you used to. Like now, like it's almost like a weird addictive, I guess, tendency. But now like I'm looking for that next thing. Like what's going to like make me feel like that again? You know what I mean? Because going to the gym.
Tonight's run, brother.
Yeah, so like that something like that. That's what I mean. But more or less where I was going with that is like an actual challenge. Like how can we get better in like all of those realms? Because I can work out every day. That's cool. That's just one area of this Go-Getters Fitness Challenge, like spectrum, that I can truthfully say I do every day, you know what I mean? But the other parts that we're trying to get at is like, where can we really get better mentally? Like, where can we really get better spiritually? Where can we just become better people and take more time within a day to make sure that we're happy throughout the day, or to make sure that we're on top of our shit throughout the day, or just be clear, like waking up and doing a little bit of yoga, like how much that'll clear your mind throughout the day. But these are all things like, oddly enough, throughout these last couple of weeks or so, I've been like challenging myself to try to do things differently just to see how it affects like my mental state better, I guess you could say. Like not eating certain foods at certain times, not like drinking coffee past a certain time, not doing this past it, like, you know what I mean, so on and so forth. But things like that, just how can I get better? Probably talking to myself in circles right now, but this is all
what you're saying, though.
This is all the stuff that's been on my mind, though, especially about like the reason I guess we wanted to dive into this fitness challenge was because, and even him, I tell him all the time, like, this motherfucker doesn't even need to do a fitness challenge, but there's always a way in which you can improve yourself.
Facts. We can just consider this podcast a fucking journal entry at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right?
That's basically for me, like going forward, that's exactly what I described it. I know me and you talk about that, but that's what I like about these podcasts is it kind of gives you an avenue to touch base with everybody that actually listens to your podcast every Thursday. Like now these people understand a little bit better why we've been slacking in some areas, why we've been so much better in certain areas, why we might sound a little bit more off in these podcasts, but better in these podcasts. You guys get an in-depth look at like what really goes through our heads in a day-to-day just with this business. Because truthfully, this consumes about 90% of my thought throughout most of the days. It's just what I can do for this. And then the other little bit is I get to spend time with my friends and family. I get to have fun. I get to do these things. But most of my realm of thought is consumed by this. So I like these podcasts to kind of be an area in which you can take a deep dive into us and you can see like where we've been and what we got in the works and what we're working on. Because you can see a podcast every Thursday and we could touch on them, these little upcoming things we have here and there, but I don't think you fully grasp everything that we're working towards unless we write it all out for you. And it kind of holds us accountable. So now everything we're saying on here, we got to turn into a reality or we're going to look dumb for saying it. So things like that too, you know?
Funny. It's true though.
Yeah. But yeah, the fitness challenge I think would be it'll be a very good idea. And we're definitely open to suggestions. I think one of the things in which I had thought about, and maybe I'm bitching, maybe I'm looking at you guys as some pussies and I'm calling you guys out right now because I had thought about doing a double-sided challenge where one half of the side is like an easier challenge that we could do for everybody that we could put out there. And you can be anybody. You could be a grandmother. You could be 80 years old. You could be pregnant. You could be disabled and you could still be getting after it every day. So like an easier challenge for everybody that doesn't want to dedicate themselves to a crazy long, crazy hard, and very intense challenge, but then doing a second one for people that did want to do that. So we'll see how that goes too. That's basically all I really had to go off with the fitness thing. We didn't really think of any other stipulations, like actual things, like challenges we'd be following or anything. But that's just, you know, a seed to plant in this podcast going forward. Let us know. Give us some fucking, what's the word for it? I hate when that happens specifically. But yeah. Fuck, what's the word? Damn it. Requests. I guess we'll use that. We'll use requests for lack of a better term. Give us your thoughts and requests on what you would like to see in that challenge and if you'd like to take part in it. Because I think that'd be dope for us annually going forward. We were aiming to try to do something either for the month of November, we could do the month of December even, or we were even talking about just doing like a 75-day hard, which I've done in the past. And I think even when I initially did it the first time, the Go Getters page might have been up, but it might have not even have been a podcast at that point. I think, and that's like when I started posting shit about 75-day hard. So you guys might have seen a little bit of that like a year ago, but yeah, that's the fitness end of the spectrum. What about gaming though? Because we be talking about streaming all the time, man.
Yeah, we play almost every night.
Yeah, so for like an hour a night, we'll hop on. We'll play some Rocket League, some Fortnite.
Thinking about getting on some Overwatch.
Yeah, some Overwatch. Been trying to get Darren to play some Overwatch.
I'm not having it yet, but we got to get like a cool, cam. Like a cool like webcam that you can record while you're playing, and also I guess record. Is that how that works? You have to just record the gameplay while you're recording the cam. Mm-hmm. You have to have a microphone though.
Like one of these you could use.
It's
really? Yeah. Oddly enough, like streaming, we pretty much have, at least like me personally, like I have all of the things you would need to live stream. But where I really lack with the whole live streaming thing, I don't know why the side of my nose is so itchy, like I took pre-workout or something, but. What's the word? Damn. I gotta stop doing that.
I think the moral of this podcast is let's just like from this point on stop bitching.
Yeah.
And just figure it the fuck out.
I texted
my dad the other day, right?
Yeah.
And I was just in deep contemplation.
Okay.
And I was in the parking lot of my jiu-jitsu gym.
Oh, jeez.
And I was thinking, I was like, damn, it could be all so simple. Like I remember I would complain to my dad and I'd be like, Dad, what if this happens? What if this and what Dad, this might, and he's just like, figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
Figure it out. And I texted him like, yo, in quotations, figure it out.
Yeah.
Best advice I ever got. Because if we just like think about all this shit we're saying, and a lot of these people are gonna be like, yeah, whatever, like whatever. But imagine if we were just like, figure it the fuck out, and we just sat down for 2 hours and tried to get this gaming shit settled out. Yeah. Sat down for 2 hours and figured out this fitness shit. Like, what can we do? What's the simplest thing that we could do?
That's a good point.
Sat down for 2 hours and said, all right, how can we get... Because another thing we want to do, bro, is I understand this. Like, we know the shit that we need to do.
Yeah.
We know it. What's that one? Isn't it called Murphy's Law or some shit? Or some law where if you could write your problems down, they're 50% solved? Some shit. I don't know what it's called.
I know what you're referring to.
But we know what the fuck we got to do. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple. Like, we want to get another camera so that we can be like the legit top dogs and switch back and forth between shit.
Take different angles.
My dogs, you saw Cinco's post? Shout out to Cinco from the 5.
His rap?
Yes.
Yeah.
You see how the camera was going like this? And it keeps that retention and it makes it look more official and professional. Like, what if we sat down and were like, yo, you got an extra 300?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, DT, you got an extra 300? Maybe. Put together and bought a fucking camera.
But even that,
stop bitching.
Money, I mean, for us, it could be controllable. I think money is a controllable thing for everybody. But one thing we absolutely can control is just, like you were saying earlier, the effort in which you give to all these different things. And I could keep making the excuse that, like, it's very hard to, like, put 10% in this pot, 10% in this pot, 10% in that. But he is right. And that was the idea behind, like, starting the whole war room thing is, like, we're going to sit down for a period of time and we're going to focus on one thing and we're going to figure it the fuck out. Because that's what floods my mind more than anything is dealing with all of these different
it's overwhelming. That's what happens is it becomes overwhelming. But there's a more strategic approach that I believe that I'm having this current clarity, and it's like one thing at a time. You can't multitask and think about all these things at once and get a little bit solved in each pot. It doesn't work that way. You have to focus on one thing at a time and prioritize what's the most important.
And oddly enough, in like figuring out one of these different pots and filling it to 100%, that also helps those other areas too. Because like, just say, for example, 2 of the things on our bucket list right now is like, we want to get this LLC, we want to get our business account, and then we want to start monetizing. Like, if only we stop focusing 10% here, 10% there, 10% here, 10% there, and then just went all in, handled all of our business shit, banking, all that, LLC, all that, then we could just hop right into the sponsors, and it makes it so much easier to just do it that way. So that's like
life
one
is
area.
your greatest teacher, bro.
Oh yeah, that's one area in which we can get way better.
There's one way we can look at this. It's like, what haven't we been doing?
Yeah, absolutely. And we could be dedicating a lot more time than we do.
You know, or what's you know, we could bro, there's just so much. We could do so much. There's so much potential here. We just gotta fucking work on it.
One area in which I think can kind of take away from that, but at the same time I think in the long run could really help is like all the fun shit like we've been doing recently. Like that, like these last couple of weekends.
Went out to eat a few times.
These last couple of weekends have been like real fun. And like I've been enjoying that a lot too. But that's like a weird balance. It's
Bloomsburg. Went to the Bloomsburg Fair.
Yeah, Bloomsburg Fair. That same day I was out doing that Alice in Wonderland shit, that scavenger hunt with the fam, like shit like that. Like I've been taking a lot of time to like make sure I'm on top of my like mental too. Like I want to always be happy. I'm like, oddly enough, and I don't care how it sounds to anybody, like everybody should. I like having fun. I like fucking off. I like doing things that I know I shouldn't be doing. Like I like having fun, as I think most people do. And I think it's very important to, I think I heard it on Rogan recently. It was something along the lines of like, damn, I'm not even going to go that far because I'm about to completely butcher it and I don't even know exactly what I'm about to say. But basically, it was some really wildly successful person who was basically saying that you got to find time for enjoyment too. You can't always just focus on the back ends and the business. And that's how you get caught up in, funnily enough, the corporate nightmare kind of.
The corporate nightmares, bro.
It gets you caught up in that.
How you been dealing with the corporate nightmares, bro?
I'm actually in a weird place of the corporate nightmares, though, because right now it's like, and I'll be openly talking about this too. One of the biggest reasons that like I always wanted to like do some form of entertainment is because I never worked a job that I liked. I always hated my job. I always hated my time being there. I always dreaded getting out of my bed in the morning to go clock in and flip a frying pan and do all that dumb shit that nobody wanted to do. But oddly enough, right now, like the job that I have, and he and I both have the same jobs, but to both or
different spectrum.
Yeah, both ends of the spectrum. Like my situation right now is extremely good, but I know it can get a lot better or a lot worse. I mean, and yeah, so far, like as of late, my corporate nightmares haven't been as bad as they were at my last job. And it's only because like what I'm doing right now, it's the first time in my life besides the podcast where I'm actually clocking in for somebody else. And what I'm doing has like
it's perks,
meaning.
Right?
Yeah. Well, not even just its perks, because I think working for any school district will have perks, but it's just a little bit more meaningful because he and I, we work with kids. I'm basically we were talking about that the other day, like what you would call what I do and what he does. Yeah, basically, like I help kids. So when I go to school, and I hated school. When I was in school and I was some of these kids' ages, I did not want to be there. I was fucking off. I wasn't doing anything remotely caring about my future in any way. I didn't want to be there. And I think one area in which I can improve the world, at least given my situation right now, is like, how can I help these kids like see that not everybody just wants to yell at them and it not be fun. You wake up every day, you don't want to go there. Like, I want you to somewhat look forward to doing that, because school, in a weird way, because of how much I hated it, gave me like this gift of like knowing that working the 9 to 5 and following rules and all that kind of shit just wasn't for me. So I want to like kind of drop seeds for these kids that, like this school stuff isn't necessarily the only way. I don't know if I should I talk about that on the podcast, so it is what it is. But yeah, the school thing, it's not necessarily the way you got to go. If you got a dream, if you got a passion, if there's something you're following, you don't got to go be a lawyer because your dad wants you to go be a lawyer. You don't got to do that. It's not a necessity in your life for happiness, because it'll really only bring you misery most likely.
We got to prove that to be true, though.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a responsibility that we need to go head on.
And overarching like this entire umbrella, like that's like kind of what it is to like. And we were just talking about that the other day too. I say that so much. We were just talking about that the other day, but it's true because we literally have these conversations all the time.
We were talking about it the other day.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's not the only way, and I think people need to know that, because it's really not. And you can. Everybody has dreams and aspirations and something they want to follow. Like my dumbass wanted to stream video games and make money doing that since I was probably younger than 10. And now we're on a podcast right now that we created talking about doing that again. And that was always my seed. Like when I was younger and I was one of those kids that didn't pay attention in school. Oh, he was probably up gaming all night, this, that, and the third. It was always talked down upon. But you see gamers making millions of dollars these days.
Facts.
Ninja, the guy that took Fortnite by storm, is a billionaire now, I believe.
We gotta get him on the podcast.
That stuff is crazy to me. And the fact that, like, that is where I was in life that, like, created this whole seed for me to want to be an entertainer, to want to make people's day better, to want to, you know, give people a smile and something to listen to. Like, that's really where it all came from. So those are the kids that, like, I'm trying to really find, like, those kids in the batch that, like, really don't want to be doing that and they have big aspirations, and I want to help those kids out. So right now, my corporate nightmares are still there, but it has more of a purpose now. Now I have another avenue in which I can improve the world, which I think is cool.
Good way
rather
to see
than
it.
just rather than just lifting garbage cans and shit. Because I mean, you and I both know that's, you know, not the best.
Not the way, bro.
Not the best way to live
Not
life.
the way.
When you're waking up at 7 a.m. and you're changing fucking trash bags, and I know a lot of people have it worse than that. Yeah, there's no fulfillment. At least for me, I can't speak for everybody because I don't know.
Sometimes, I don't know, bro. Sometimes, like, some people just need to, you know, get them bills paid and figure it out. And that's super honorable, feed the family. But we gotta step back a little bit, get a strategy, and create that life we want for ourselves, man. As a family, too. We gotta do it for our family.
Yeah. That's why we got to build this empire. Like all these
should
pillars
be.
and all these different pillars that we're talking about, like we really want to put back on for the community. So fuck all the monetization that I'm about to get into too. Like even though like we're going to be doing things in the future that will turn this into a business where we'll be making money, that all in turn goes so much into just helping this mission that we're already on and then what we can do with it going forward, which I think is the coolest part. Because now we're at a weird crossroad where this shit, I mean, I think it's always been just bigger than us, but now we're at a weird point where things are really starting to like look up and things can really be different.
We have so many opportunities.
Yeah, so many different opportunities that like it's really all on us. Like whether or not like we want to leave a lasting impact on this world, and if like the life I've always wanted to lead is true, is that the life I've always wanted to lead? Because it has always been, but now I have the opportunity to actually do it. So now it's about going forward and doing it. Go getting.
What are we at?
45.
You want to go get it?
Let's fucking see what else we got. Going forward, yeah, I think we have some fun episodes planned for you guys. I want to know what you guys think about the UFC ones because we have another one of those planned up coming soon, and I think it's a big card. I have so much fun doing those ones. I have so much fun doing those ones. That's why I always like bringing up on these corporate nightmares ones, letting you guys know about those. And I have a lot of fun doing these ones too. I like these. But yeah, we have these. We have a corporate nightmares episode. This one's obviously going to be coming out by the time you see it. It'll be Thursday. We have 2 more pretty cool guests coming up. I don't want to name drop yet because you guys will see those when you see them. But we also have a cool idea to have some kind of like funny Halloween episode for Halloween. So we'll see like where our brains can go with that. But that's like back to the overarching conversation. Like these are the conversations we got to have every day because there's just so much going on and like scheduling and planning and trying to honestly, like one of the areas in which I've been really focusing on is how we can just do it all better. Like how we can, and this shit is corporate. Don't get me wrong. Like the corporate button up behind the whole YouTube and Spotify thing. Spotify is another thing we could talk about too after. But is like analytics and trying to bring more people in and how could we get seen more places? Like how could we get the name out there? That shit definitely does get corporate. Don't let me lie to you, but that is one of the areas I've been really like thinking about and focusing a lot of my time on recently. It's just how we can like, how I can edit a lot better, like add in these pictures like I was touching on before, add in text. How can I pan cameras, like do things like that? Yeah. Fuck, I lost my train of thought again. This is what I mean, though. Like, this is where you just got to get behind the camera. You got to get these reps in. Because I was telling him prior, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, but, like, when you film podcasts and you schedule them for, like, days in advance, you go a while without sitting down and just having a podcast forum conversation with people. And you definitely get rusty. That's one area I want to get a lot better at. And I just want to get better at talking to people and, like, letting go of that filter. And I don't know what causes the brain farts. Maybe I have early CTE from getting smacked in the head too many times playing football, but I want to completely lose that messing, like fucking my words up like I just did there. I want to get better at that. I want to get better at talking. I want to be a better conversationalist.
Yeah, maybe we should just do blank podcasts.
What do you mean?
Come up here and just talk on a microphone and
Yeah.
record it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot we had talked about doing that. And that's a cool idea. Like,
Get those reps in.
yeah, even just bullshitting with friends. Because I think, like, that was one area in which that really helped us at the start is, like, when we posted our first episode, we didn't. And that's something I don't even know if we ever talked about. But that first episode that we posted was not our first episode. That was probably number 10 if we posted all the other ones.
Yeah.
And all the other ones were literally just complete, unfiltered, and thank God these shits will never see the day of light. And sadly, I had to delete them all, so like I guess we'll never really get to rewatch them, which really sucks. I really wanted to save those ones. But yeah, there was about probably at least 5 to 10 just completely unfiltered, just
Like 4-hour-long conversations.
That one that we had was I think it might have been over 5 hours. So we have a fucking over 5 hour podcast with the same people we do the UFC podcast with, Brian and Jake. Shout out Brian and Jake. But yeah, we sat down with them. We talked for like 5 hours, and those are the reps that's what I'm talking about. Oddly enough, like when we first started this podcast, it seemed like I was so addicted to it that every day that I was at your house, I was like, yo, we filming a podcast tonight? Like, we going to go sit up there on the mics tonight? Like, just bullshit and just talk, because I love doing that. And it's funny because without the camera and without posting them, you oddly get the best form of, I think, what a podcast can be. It's just about how, like, we can take the steps to actually make it that way when you're recording, which is like a hard balance. I definitely haven't been able to figure that part out yet. But I think we're so much better in those days. Like, I won't say better, because that's a weird conversation to have, but you're so much more free, and you're so much more open to just talking and saying whatever you want on the microphone. Because I think we all know, like, we live in a day and age now where you can't realistically just say whatever you want anymore. But I don't want it to be that way. I want to be able to have open conversations with anybody I want to have open conversations with, and about anything. Like, let's sit down and talk. I'm not hateful. I don't want to bash nobody for a belief or an opinion. I just genuinely want to have conversations and talk about the shit that you and I and Brian and I and Jake and I, the shit that we talk about when we're on car rides to the gym, when we're in the gym lifting, when we're out to eat. Like, the conversations that we have, I think those are the best. Those conversations you have with your tight-knit friends, there's really nothing better than that. And that's one of the reasons I got into the whole thing too. But that's like one of the best parts about podcasting, is just like getting to sit down like with your friends, unfiltered, for a few hours and just talk shit without phones too. Because a lot of the times we get caught up just sitting in the metaverse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sitting in that meta.
Sitting in the meta.
Can't do it. I can't do it. That's going to be a stipulation for the challenge. My cellular fiends, we're going to have to put them phones down for like a month going forward. I don't know like what the stipulations are going to be for me yet, but I know I definitely want to spend a lot less time on social media, because clouds your judgment.
For sure.
Now I sound like them corporate fucks. It clouds your judgment. Them video games will rot your brain. Now I sound like one of those fucks. I don't know why my nose is so itchy. What the fuck is going on up here? Something in the air. I'm probably going to look so dumb throughout the
booger sugar.
I know. It's literally like, for all my gym goers out there, you'll know exactly what I mean when I say the nose tingles from pre-workout. That's like what I'm getting right now. And I don't know why that is. I haven't had a coffee since like 12, so it's not no caffeine. I don't know what's causing it right now. But yeah, guys, fucking, this is where, we're kind of at right now as a team, as a fucking unit, all these different things we have going forward. Like, I mean, there's nothing else. I know there was some other shit that I wanted to touch on. I know it. I guess really not, though. Oh, yeah, that Go-Getters book fair going to come with steps. That Go-Getters Scholastic book fair is going to come with steps, because fuck those guys. They be trying to get one over the kids, and I can't go for that no more. So one day we're going to be showing back up to all the schools within our school district, and we're going to be giving out them fucking Rich Dad, Poor Dad books.
Got to,
right?
Change the world.
Got to show them the way. And hopefully by then, by the time we're able to do that, there's a fucking Go-Getters autobiography out there. So we'll be able to hand those ones out too for free. Like, fuck all that, like $15 here, $20 there, $30 here. Nah, none of that. It's all free.
Mine's itching too, bro.
See, some shit going on up here in this room. Somebody put the funny gas in here or some shit. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I mean, besides that, I mean, all the business related stuff behind the scenes, the this is shit that we've been at least me specifically, I've been really wanting to get a lot of this shit off my chest just to be more transparent, because I think that that's very big. It's one of the reasons that he and I had started posting, like, every time a podcast comes out now, you'll see us just be out on a stroll, wherever, filming like a little bit, just sitting down, talking to the camera for like a minute and posting that, letting you guys know about what's going on, because I think you got to take them steps to be more personal and to not give a fuck. What are you going through it up there now?
What's going on my eyes?
That's no good. Maybe you and I just got allergic to dogs out of nowhere.
Damn.
We're just fucking. You want to close her up?
Yeah, I do.
All right, guys. So, on that note, this has been the Go Getters Corporate Nightmares episode 3. We got some big episodes coming for you guys. We have some big philanthropy and giveaway opportunities coming through for you guys soon. And yeah, all around, I think this is just another step, another big milestone for the Go-Getters. I want every time we do one of these to have some pretty cool shit to tell you guys about. I think we definitely succeeded with this one. And going forward, we'll have a lot more cool shit to tell you guys.
We'll be back and better than ever.
Absolutely. Every episode. We'll see you guys Thursday.
Peace.
Peace.